right, well, we'll get into the intro bit. Firstly, hi, my name is Brad. Hi, live stream. Hi, my camera. I am the host of Successfully Sustainable. This is a podcast all about learning how to have a more attainable, maintainable, sustainable lifestyle. My guest today is Ms. Zoe Prinsloo. She's 19 years old. She's an environmental activist and the founder of an organization called Save the Fishies, which is an organization focused on beach cleanups and other environmental issues, as well as a distributor of a wide range of eco-friendly products. Shout out. In high school, Zoe was the president of her high school's Interact Club and also received the Protea Award, which is the highest award in the Girl Guides. In 2019, she was chosen to attend the UN Youth Climate Summit in New York City and was recently announced as one of the top 100 African young environmental conservation leaders. Holy smokes. A list compiled by the World Wildlife Foundation, the African Wildlife Foundation, the World Organization of the Scout Movement, and the African Alliance of the YMCAs. So, off that's a fairly meaty title.
Yeah.
I kind of want to get into how that all came about. So, I know Save a Fishy is pretty much your primary focus. How did that come about? How did that happen? Why did you start it? Yeah,
sure.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, so I've been doing beach cleanups for almost 9 years now. I started when I was about 10.
Sorry, just pull the mic a bit closer to you. Just
There
literally.
we go.
Yeah,
Is that
there we
fine?
go. Yeah.
Sweet. So I've been doing beach cleanups since I was about 10 years old. And when I joined Girl Guides, I was so lucky to join a unit that was so focused on community service. So through them, I did my first beach cleanups. And I did so many. And every time I went, the same things I found, plastic straws, wrappers, things like that, it got to me. And being so young, I was very confused and I didn't quite understand. And I tried to, figure out a way to help lessen the amount of straws we found, things like that. So I searched and researched and found more eco-friendly alternatives. So it started with like a biodegradable straw, which was quite a while back. That was like the first thing we started with. And then, through Girl Guides, I started hosting my own cleanups, things like that. And it just grew from there, the articles, newspapers. I started adding more and more different products, things like that. And it just grew. And I was so lucky to have so much support and people supporting me and sharing my story. And from there, it kind of just grew and people found me and
Cool. I mean, so firstly, where did Save a Fishy come from? The name, was that just like, how did that come about? Was there, what was the process?
One of my favorite stories to tell. It's quite a hectic one. I was cleaning at my adopted beach, I call it, Milnerton Lagoon, and there's a whole like rocky shore along the side that we were cleaning on, and there was a packet that I picked up. It was full of water, and as I picked it up, it started moving, so I kind of freaked out a little bit, calmed down, let the water out, and a fish swam out, and I was like, oh my goodness, if I was in here on this beach today, this time, if I didn't pick up that packet, that fish would have died in there. So it's kind of like I saved a fishy moment. So I kind of try and, promote that, like, come to the beach cleanups. You never know what you're going to find. You might just save a fish. You definitely will. Like, every piece you pick up, I believe, has its life along where it could do some serious damage. So that piece that you pick up can make such a difference. So, come save a fishy. I love it.
Amen. Yeah, I mean, that's, very, very cool. In terms of, starting this kind of an organization at your age, I sound so old. I'm basically your age as well. But is quite something. And how has it grown? What have you learned along the way? I mean, something like this is definitely full of learnings.
Yeah.
So tell us.
It was so many lessons and learning to work with people, and I love business, so I really enjoy the business side of it, promoting different products, things like that. And meeting new people, talking to people. I love trying to share the word and spread the lesson and things like that. And such amazing people that I meet along the way. So many people doing these things and volunteers that are so helpful. It's amazing, and I've learned so much. I really learned like how to run beach cleanups, things like that, campaigns. It really is a really nice leadership lesson as well. I really enjoy it.
Would you say Save a Fishy, because to me it seems like it's kind of both a not, I don't know whether legally, but like an NGO side of things, but also a for-profit business in the sustainability side of things? Is it both? Like, which one are you leaning more towards?
Yeah, it's pretty much both. It's really hard to, nothing's registered yet, so it's pretty hard to find which one. But the business side and the organization side, they kind of run together.
Okay.
Obviously, the organization side runs more because, we've constantly got campaigns, beach clubs coming up, so that's just kind of there, like, should anybody need, I know eco-friendly and biodegradable products are so hard to find, which is why I started that side. So it's there should, you need an alternative. So.
Yeah, I like that. Kind of like the charitable's the wrong word. What do I want? Anyways, the word will come to me. But that side of things is kind of your impetus, what's really driving everything, and then you've seen an opportunity, you've seen a gap in the market, and you've gone, look, I'm fairly well placed to fill this gap. I'm not gonna chase the money from what I can tell, but it's it's providing people with the alternative for those kind of products. Definitely. Which I think is such an important thing for us to be doing just societally, and I do think it's becoming more prevalent, and so many organizations and companies are, whether by their own the goodness of their hearts or market pressure, they are, I mean, either way, means to an end. If stuff is becoming more environmentally friendly, I think however that happens with the state of the world at the moment, if it's happening, amazing. So recently you ran a schools beach cleanup with the Cape Town Environmental Education Trust and the Table Mountain Fund. What was that like? What was that about?
It was really
working
awesome.
with kids, I think is...
I love working with kids, especially young kids, because they're so eager to learn. Obviously, the older kids, you get the ones, they really want to help and they want to learn, but it's a bit harder. But the young kids, they're so eager, and it's adorable, they're running around and they find it fun, go to the beach, spend a day in the sun and run around, pick up trash and stuff like that. But yeah, we thankfully with Satit, they provided the grants and that, and we managed to get snacks and that for the kids and games, things like that. So just kind of make it more fun and make learning fun. So yeah, it was really cool. We did, I think, 8 or 9 schools, beach cleanups in total. We got another one this Saturday, so I'm really eager for that one too.
Incredible. Cool.
I really think it's helping. They're learning a lot. They're learning. So.
Yeah, and I think, we are probably the generation for whom kind of environmental concerns as a generation are front of mind or
they
fairly
take it
prevalent.
home and they spread the word.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, to be raising that. Are they a different generation to us? Yeah. Fairly close. There's definitely not a lot of similarities. But yeah, I think it's just so important that, we're reaching kids and having these conversations about sustainability and I like what you said about like trying to make it fun. I think it's super important that it doesn't just feel like a chore and like picking up rubbish. You got to find a way to make it entertaining.
Definitely more fun than cleaning your rooms.
So. Yeah, exactly. Where do you see Save a Fishy going? What's your plans for the future?
Yeah, sure. I have a lot of ideas, a lot of campaigns that I'd love to do. I'm working at the moment as well, so it's a lot to manage together. But, I'm finding the time doing things like this, trying to give lots of talks and that to schools. Yeah. Get out there more. Word. Yeah, spread the word. But yeah, I think the business side could grow a lot more as well. Okay. If that could pick up, then it's sort of like I don't need a job that isn't focused on what I want to do all the time. I mean, if I could get paid for beach cleanups, that'd be so awesome. But unfortunately, that's not how life works. So, yeah, definitely more campaigns and community projects. Not just environmental, but taking it out into communities as well and trying to help them as well. So,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
You mentioned something about the Eden Festival of Action, which
Yes.
I wanted to go to a few years ago, and
It's amazing.
then didn't happen, obviously,
Yeah.
in the same way last year. And so is it happening again this year?
We actually
What's happening?
just got the email yesterday that it was postponed to September.
Oh no! I'm with striking while the wound is still.
Yeah, it was supposed to be end of June now.
Okay.
Got postponed to end of September, clashing with a few things then, but it's like, hey, we'll make it work. Cause
Yeah.
I really want to go.
Mm.
It's an incredible experience. I would recommend anyone.
I mean,
you can go.
for the people who don't know, can you give a
so
little spiel?
Eden Festival of Action, if you want to go and look up on it. It's a really cool eco camp, as I call it, and we go and we plant trees and we eat vegan the whole week as well, which is really cool. You get to learn new recipes, things like that. They teach about eco bricking, alien plant clearing, all things like that. It's really cool. They're basically spending a week with like-minded people. Everyone's got the same vibe and everyone cares about the same things as you. It's really awesome. I highly recommend trying to get.
It's Green Pop that hosts it, hey? Or they definitely started it. Are they still fully in control?
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as I know, it's Green Pop is hosting, yeah.
Okay,
it's awesome.
Cool. Have you watched Seaspiracy?
Yes.
Okay, what are your thoughts?
I thought it was really well filmed. I know there have been some articles on it regarding the misleading claims, things like that. But I think overlooking that, they managed to, raise a few topics that a lot of people don't know anything about. Seaspiracy became quite a big trend to watch. Everyone was watching it. Everyone wanted to see what everyone was talking about. And I think it was necessary for those that are kind of very close-minded. They don't know about the whole fishing industry. They watched it. They kind of got an insight to it, the whole slave labor side of it, things that a lot of people don't know. It was very good for them to see, I think. I enjoyed the film. It was really hard to watch. I do know about a lot of those kinds of issues and that, but, it's hard to see. So I think it was well filmed.
Yeah.
The way they got everyone's attention, it was very serious.
Yeah.
Well filmed, definitely.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with a friend about it as well, and he was also saying just, it was kind of like shock value reporting in a lot of ways, in terms of they made some claims that were either from outdated data, so it's not like it was technically completely inaccurate, but they use outdated data, or we all know how data can be manipulated depending on how you change things and that kind of thing. And I kind of want to get your opinion on, like I said, very much shock value reporting and kind of sensationalism to a large degree. Obviously the problem is massive and seriously needs to be addressed, but yeah, what are your thoughts on the kind of means versus ends debate of that, where to me it's yes, there were misleading things and all of that, but did the positive that came out of it in terms of reaching millions of people and alerting them to the kind of severe state that the oceans are in.
Look,
what are your thoughts?
The data might not have been accurate then, but it could become a real factor one day. I think the shock tactics were necessary because we've gone so far. People, they like to just postpone things and they kind of overlook it, but sometimes it needs to be right there for people to kind of pay attention and understand. Obviously I'd never want to push things into people's faces. You do your thing, but just know what's happening as a result of that. Things like that. But I think it was necessary. Same as Cowspiracy. I know it followed on. It had to be there. It's there for anyone that needs to go and look up. So I think it was
the shits
good.
get out of them every now and again.
Yeah. Sometimes
good
it's necessary.
For you. Sometimes good. Yeah. That's very much kind of a large part of my personal philosophy on the whole thing is, I think it's really important that everyone, as much as possible, people are educated and exposed and fully understand the situation, what's going on, just in the world around us. I think kind of climate change aside, I think it's just important to be aware of the state of your environment and the environment around you. But kind of more, that people are aware but don't feel, like you said, kind of, you're not going to shove anything down people's throats. I think it's kind of like present people with the problem and a variety of potential solutions that they can choose to take, and just leave that with them. Like,
I feel like I represent the average person. I try and give easier goals and objectives, things to change. So I know cutting meat out completely is very, very hard. It's not for everyone. It's so, suggesting meat-free Mondays, things like that. People that, fish is one of their main food things. Try and have fish only Fridays. So you only eat fish on Fridays, things like that. So not like completely wiping it off the board, because, it's harder for some people than others. So
I mean,
easier goals.
Are you vegetarian, vegan? What's your...
So I stick to the meat-free Mondays.
Okay.
Try and do that, because obviously it's harder in my family. My family is it makes one of the main things of our meals. It's really hard to avoid. I know some people say vegan food is cheap, but it unfortunately isn't that affordable for our family. So you got to make do where you can. I make up for it in trying to help in other places. I
think that's a really important conversation to have, because I think right now, like, being vegetarian or plant-based is very, like, it's almost trendy, and I mean, I think that's great to a degree, because ultimately it means there's more people eating less meat. But I think it's really important to have the conversation around okay, let's meet people where they're at, and in kind of the context of their situation and their family life and
understand
their life, and kind of say, okay, you can't go vegetarian. Cool. What about X?
Exactly. Giving alternatives. Kind of, many goals to meet.
Because I think, and it's kind of the whole theme of this podcast, is kind of, I think in trying to save the world, we've got to think about the people in the world and how they feel.
Exactly.
And for me, it's always been a thing of, if you feel attacked by a group who are trying to get you to join them,
exactly. Not
you're just going to go, no. I mean, and with a lot of these things, it's very hard to refute.
Yeah.
It's very hard to refute that being vegetarian or vegan is better for the planet. Yeah. Generally, there are, parts. But sometimes people go, I agree with your points, but you're being so mean to me that out of pure stubbornness, I'm not going to join you.
Exactly. That's why you don't want to, with anything, you don't want to attack people and make it so always in their face. Like, a good shock tactic every now and then is good, but don't constantly... You're just going to push them further and further away. And because they've been attacked about it, they're like, no.
Yeah, and whether they feel attacked or just kind of overwhelmed by the pure volume of... like, if you really look at what's going on in the world, or like, it's totally overwhelming. I can't handle I can't handle it. I'll be completely honest. There's so much going on. There's so much going on that's wrong. And I saw an interesting article about how kind of our sphere of information over the last kind of 2 decades has expanded massively. I mean, 2 decades ago, kind of pre the internet's real growth, your access to information was pretty much limited to what was in your newspaper and what was at the library, and what you could get over very expensive overseas phone calls and the TV. Like, whereas now our access to information is essentially infinite. Yeah. Like, we can access pretty much any information about pretty much anything in the world right now. And our sphere of influence, however, has expanded, but not nearly as much. So as humans, we're kind of stuck knowing all the horrible things that are going on in the world, because they also make more of the news. And you just sit at home feeling like you can do nothing about it. And
that's true.
And I think we've got to bear that in mind. This kind of like fatigue of what's going on, and just being encouraging to people and saying, look, like, you don't have to be vegan and save the world all on your own and hate everyone who can't meet you there. we've got to be forgiving of people. Our activism's got to be forgiving and understanding, I think, is really important. And
and I really like that part that you said. Like, that's very important. I'm glad that not everyone is trying to follow with the tide and kind of, just hop on the bandwagon, understand it first.
Yeah. I think that's also super important. Yeah. Like, we've got to fully understand the implications of one's choices of activism or the way we relate. And I mean, I had a very interesting kind of insight with a friend kind of around that, and it was like, like the example was talking about veganism, and the perception is veganism is perfect and is the best thing you can do to save the environment. And in the broader sense, that's not inaccurate.
Yeah.
But there are aspects to it that are horrible for the planet. The farming of quinoa in Peru is destroying that country, and it used to be the staple of the poor people in that country, and now because the demand's ratcheted up so fast, that food, which is essentially like sample maize in South Africa, is too expensive for those people, and they don't have their staple anymore.
Exactly. Every part has its pros and its cons.
Exactly. And I think it's important that we interrogate these things that we're doing for the planet, because we often don't think about, follow through the consequences to their logical conclusion.
And don't overdo it.
Yeah,
just find a healthy balance.
Everything in moderation.
Exactly.
And I think it's just important that we're just encouraging people to make small changes regularly that they can maintain.
Yeah, and they don't need to know, you don't need to know all of the big words and the big facts and figures. Like, there are so many simplified things that you can find online, and I try and become like that middleman. Like, I tell everyone, I know like the bare basics. I know the same as you. I know what I need to do and what I can do, and that's what I do. So
I think also, like, intent is everything. Like, if you are going about it with the right intentions and you're being conscious of what you're doing, and you are aware of the choices you're making and the conscious choices, like, that's what matters. And
definitely,
if you make a mistake, that's okay. I think it's really important that in these conversations and in this dialogue about what we can do, it's really important to be forgiving and understand the other person's context. And
a lot of people beat themselves up over it, and it's not.
Yeah. And for me, it's like, there's a part of it where it's like, if you make a mistake, you're vegan and you accidentally eat dairy, like, don't beat yourself up about it. On one hand, you need to be forgiving of yourself and understand that those things happen. And on the other hand, tell yourself that you're being better than half the other people on the planet anyways. Give yourself a little, you're still, doing better. So obviously, context. But... And it's kind of, I think, like you said as well, like, veganism isn't a perfect solution for everybody by a long, street. It is expensive.
Yeah.
And I think that can largely be because we've been brought up in a way that just all of our cooking and how we understand food is around meat.
Yes,
and I think,
definitely.
People, chefs and whatever, who spend time and money investigating this stuff can make veganism cheap.
Yeah.
I think it's very possible.
It is.
And, once you look at meat is a very expensive commodity, but in terms of, if you know how to cook with it, you can make it work.
That's true.
Whereas, fresh fruit and veg and that kind of thing, and, the root soys and those kind of other substitutes are cheap. But if you don't know how to cook with them, then you're just buying really expensive, like, made up meat substitutes. And those cost a lot of money. And people don't always, most people don't have the time. It's really hard to completely rethink the way you cook.
It is hard, yeah.
Like, I mean, so I've been vegetarian for 2 years or so.
Nice.
And I used to eat a lot of white meat, not so much red meat. It just wasn't a big part of my diet. But I used to eat a ton of white meat. And luckily my sister is vegetarian and had been a bit before me as well. So I was kind of going into it with that context and understanding and able to kind of draw from her But I think that's also a really important thing to bear in mind. If my sister in my house wasn't vegetarian already and hadn't kind of gone through the real struggle of being the only vegetarian in the house, which I don't acknowledge enough, Jenna, you're a tank. You know, if she hadn't done that, it would have been a lot harder for me to do it, and I don't know if I would have done it as soon. I'm going to be completely honest.
That's true.
In fact, I don't know if I would have done it now, you know. And that's what people don't understand, you know. I think it's so important to realize that the information can be right in front of you in the public domain.
Yes, definitely.
But
it needs to be
having someone like very close to you who can help you along with that makes a massive difference.
That's true.
And it's very easy to, you know, be saying, well, you're not vegetarian, so why? Like, it's so easy. It's so doable. What's wrong with you? Like,
it's easy for
why
them
can't
now. But
it's like, no, you know.
when you start.
Yeah, and when you start, it's really hard. And, you know, no one will refute the fact that it's good for the planet.
Yeah.
Because good luck finding anything to back that up. But, you know, it's not as simple, and we need to be understanding of that. And I think it's so important to be like, look, just try be vegetarian twice a week. Once a week. Meat-free Mondays. Meat-free Mondays. Incredible. If more people on the planet did meat-free Mondays, we'd see a big difference.
Yeah, exactly. Small differences.
Small differences, small changes that you can sustain. I think it's like a lot of people watch Cowspiracy and then go, I'm going to go vegan.
Yeah.
And then a few months later, it's just like, oh
You
wow,
overdo it,
I have no energy. My B12's gone. My vitamin D's gone. I can barely get up in the morning because your body's not used to that. Your body's like, whoa, where's my protein?
Exactly, that's sudden
where's
like cold
my
turkey. It's crazy,
Exactly.
and it's not healthy.
It's not healthy, and it's not sustainably sustainable.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
And I think it's important that we encourage those, you know, those actions where it's a small thing, you can implement it into your routine, and you can keep implementing it without it being a big thing on your life, like a major load on your life.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, getting into that, I mean, you've got a good list here, but what kind of, I'll come into this, but in that I think it's really important that companies get to create products that are sustainable. And I think it's really important that companies all try to attain that where possible and try to just make those small changes.
Exactly. Look, they're at the top of the line. Like, they're at the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
I can't tell, like, whoever ever, you know, switch to that. Like, they have to make the first change.
Yeah. And it's got to be, I mean, they'll feel pressure from the market, but that market pressure has got to be big. And I think they are starting to feel it, and I think that's good. But I think it's really important that we support businesses that have managed to make success out of being sustainable. And so, I mean, are there brands, people, organizations that, especially local, because I want to also feature more local companies and that kind of thing, but like shout out some brands that you think are doing some cool work, or people.
There are so many people doing their thing, and it's so incredible to see. I work with so many amazing people that are just killing it out there. Margot, she's one of she calls me her eco princess. Oh, I love her so much. She's definitely supported me so much through everything. You know, even like some people that have like supplied me with products and things like that, they've been with me every step of the way. The Firelight is one of my first products, one of my favorites. Their Firelight is made out of used coffee beans. I
was seeing coffee. I was like, what the?
Oh, it smells amazing. And they're actually school friends of my mom's, and they're amazing. They're so supportive. It's so hard to list them all because there's so many people doing their thing. Yeah. I mean, for instance, Dove. Dove. I went to Checkers the other day, and one of the other small things to try and do is switch to, you know, cruelty-free brands, things like that. I stood in the shampoo aisle for like half an hour trying to find a brand that was cruelty and vegan friendly. Dove was the only one there. Shout out Dove. Also like sponsor the podcast. So it's so hard to list them all. And I know I've listed like 2 or 3 people, but I don't want to miss anyone important. So like everyone that's ever been there for me, supported me, shared my story, things like that. You guys
Yeah.
Our heroes, my mom, my boyfriend. Oh my goodness, I could never have been where I am today without them. Definitely, sure.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a whole variety of products that you've got here. Stationery is.
I love the stationery. I think it's beautiful.
Coffee file. I'm a coffee addict. So I just like the idea of the coffee.
Exactly.
file.
Used coffee beans, reuse them.
That's
coffee firelighters.
That's
it's
very
amazing.
efficient. And I can only imagine it would smell nice.
It smells amazing.
Sure. I'm probably going to have to make a purchase there. Yeah, and then
So,
what
yeah.
are some of these other things? There's some skincare stuff.
Yeah,
I don't
we've
know.
got this face wash called Be Human. It's from Singapore.
Okay.
I'm the only one in South Africa that has it at the moment. It's very
exclusive.
It's very exclusive. It's a powdered base face wash.
Okay.
So I bet you probably know all of our skincare products, face washes, things like that. They have like 70% water. So the shipping industry puts a lot of strain on the environment, things like that. So why ship a product that is 70% water that we have at home? So this is purely powder based. It's amazing.
Oh, so you just mix it?
Yeah, you take some powder in your hand, put some water, there you go. And I've had some amazing, like, people report back, it does some amazing stuff. It's really good, smells amazing, it looks beautiful.
My mind's blown as to why more things don't do that. But anyways,
You see, the small little things, just think some things through,
I think that's, like, people just need to, like, think through the life cycle of a product.
We're so used to the way things are made.
And then just go, why don't we do that?
Why?
Yeah. How was the UN summit? What was that all about? Like, I can't believe I forgot to ask about that. But, like, give me the spiel.
It was like a mind-blowing experience because, I don't even know how it came about. I got this email one day. I think I was at school. I came home from school and obviously I didn't have my phone with me. My mom got my emails and that for me so long, and I got in the car and she told me what happened. Obviously we looked into it first. We looked into it and that, made sure everything was legit and it was really happening, because it was kind of like this can't be real.
Yeah, am I being scammed?
Exactly. And it was like a month in advance.
Sure.
So I was like, okay,
Plan
sure.
better, UN.
Give me more time to prepare. So yeah, we went there. I think it was like 5 days in New York. So they gave us accommodation, things like that. We stayed at the YMCA, which was like this little hostel vibe. It was really cool. And we got to attend one of the climate marches, one of the like peaceful protests in New York City. And there were like over 250,000 people.
Sure.
It was a huge one. Willow Smith was there and Jaden Smith. And
did you meet them?
I didn't, but they performed. And
that would be incredible.
It was incredible. There was that. We got to, take over the streets of New York together. Did a few interviews there as well. And then the actual UN summit happened. It was really cool. There were some amazing speakers that we got to listen to. It wasn't really much like an interactive thing, more like we were just watching.
Okay.
So it was really interesting to hear. Greta was there. She was there. I was having like little fangirl moments. She didn't say much because there was obviously, this was the youth summit, so the actual summit was happening a few days later, which she was going to speak at. So at least she was there. I got to hear her say a few words. So that was really awesome. So it was incredible to be given that opportunity and to be thought of, and be a few youth that were actually there from South Africa.
Yeah,
it was quite a represent South Africa moment. It was awesome, and to get to see New York, it was
you got to see New York, which is a great thing to do.
That was pretty
anyways.
Cool. Thanks.
And then
I'll take it.
Yeah, and then kind of the acknowledgement is, so that also come out of Save a Fishy, I'd imagine.
Yeah. I think, look, I still to this day don't really know how it came about. If they saw an article, I know some of these things you apply for or you just like send in your resume, which my mom and I, we both kind of just send things in wherever, see what happens from it. And then that's somehow we get this email like months later and I'm like, I don't remember, but maybe I did. So I think it was one of those moments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. Shout out to moms, just in general.
Sure.
But especially Zoe's mom.
I love you, Mom.
And I love you too, Mom. Cool. let's get practical. I mean, we're going to cut this a little bit out and put it on Instagram so that people can share it and stuff. But do you have 3 to 5 like simple little tips for people on how to kind of contribute to the world a bit more sustainably and have a more positive impact on their planet and their environment?
I think, look, support where you can. A lot of people share things and that and say that they want to help and everything. Come to a beach cleanup. Cool. Come and help. Like, there are so many, I know so many people hosting beach cleanups all over the place. I do like 2 a month.
Okay.
Everything's on Facebook at Save a Fishy. You can check where we go there. Things like that. Beach cleanups. Taking your own bags to the shop. Refusing
Super
plastic
easy.
bags. It's so easy. Refusing single-use plastics. I don't use straws anymore. I didn't bring them with because everybody has a straw now.
Yeah.
Take your own straws wherever you go. If I go and get a coffee or anything, I take my own mug. Things like that. Switching off your lights when you leave the rooms. Little things that you kind of like, why must I do this? It doesn't really make a difference, but
just make them a part of your routine.
Exactly.
Because
you'd be so surprised.
I think it's so important to encourage those little things, because the world's not going to be saved by a few people, you know, who are vegan and don't drive cars and like live on little farms, because that doesn't help change the culture. And
it's just putting them
ultimately
through.
we have to change the culture. The culture has to change, and you know, that happens way more through people meeting one another where they're at, you know, realizing that we've got so much more in common than we do that sets us apart. And you know, going, okay, cool, what can you do? Like, how can we help you do these things? Like, what advice do you need? Not imposing judgment over, oh, well, you're not vegan, so you must be evil.
And look, everyone makes mistakes. Like, I still sometimes, you know, I'll forget my bags in the car. I'll forget my bags at home, and I need to take a plastic bag. But either way, I reuse it at home. I don't buy like rubbish bin bags. I just reuse my shopping bags. So.
Exactly. I mean, and I think I do that as well. Like, we've got all the reusable bags, and sometimes I'm in a rush and I forget them. And
it's
that
okay.
happens, and it's fine.
It's okay.
You know, the fact that you're doing it sometimes is better than not doing it at all.
Exactly.
And exactly, like you said, like, once you've got that plastic bag, don't throw it away, because then you're being silly.
I don't think I've ever thrown away a plastic bag.
Yeah,
like,
they're
it's
useful.
a free bag.
Yeah, why are you throwing away plastic bags?
Yeah.
Recycle them. Make an eco brick. You know, start one of those up. They're super easy. You just put it in the kitchen, fill a Coke bottle. It's really not that hard.
Recycling. There's so many things.
Yeah.
And so many things online.
Yeah.
So many articles, lists that you can look at.
Yeah.
Things you wouldn't even think of that are actually making such a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Food waste is one that's a pet peeve to me. Like, there's, I'm convinced that there is data on this. I can't quote it, so go check it out. But food waste is a bigger problem than the eating of meat. It's an oversimplification of things, but if we waste something like 30% of our food, especially in the Western world and in the first world, like, we waste up to 30% of our food.
Sure.
And it's way more important to reduce that than... It's better to reduce your food waste than it is to stop eating meat.
That's true. You see, you learn things every day.
If you can, cool. But just make... portion control. Don't make more food than you're actually going to eat and you actually need. Don't, you know, there's so many small things you can do to just make your life a little bit less negatively impactful and kind of start flipping that carbon footprint positive.
Sure. That's incredible.
Yeah. Okay. Monologue time. I don't know if you have anything on your mind, but this is your moment to talk to the camera and tell the people what's on your mind, something that you're passionate about at the moment. Do your thing.
If I could say anything to everyone, and what I always want everyone to leave with after, you know, listening to me speak, is believe in yourself and trust me, you can make a difference. Like, every small difference, just switching your life up a little bit, you won't believe the difference it's making. And that's always like my life model, is every little bit helps. Every little difference. Just do that little thing. Support one another. We do it together. We do it for our future as a youth, you know. We do it for our future. And for my future kids to have a swimming pool, because I know, you know, water is a big thing as well for us. Have a future, be able to go to the beach without dodging things and know what a turtle is. Such little things like that. So just believe in yourself. Every small difference helps. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the moral of the whole story is...
Yeah. It's not one big change.
The world will be saved by a bunch of people making a lot of very small changes.
I like
because
that.
that's what we can sustain. And as people, we're not perfect beings by a long shot. Yeah, I'm very far from perfect.
Definitely, same.
And that's okay. Accept that. One of my little things is hold yourself more to a standard of constant improvement than perfection, because that's exhausting. You're never going to attain it, and you're going to feel shit afterwards. Like, hold yourself to a standard of, today I'm going to try and be a bit better than I was tomorrow. And even if you don't, than I was yesterday. And even if you don't do that, the fact that you're trying is what matters. And hold yourself to that. That's what really matters. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for us. Thank you so much for coming in and chatting and sharing your story. And
thank you.
It's been such an interesting conversation for me. Like I said, this is very much a excuse to have conversations that I want to have. And yeah, thank you so much for coming in, and thank you for what you're doing and helping the planet. It's so important, and it's so incredible seeing the youth leading that charge. And congratulations on everything you've achieved. It's really quite remarkable. Thank you to everybody if there's anyone listening to the live stream and watching, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And thank you to those who watch and listen to either listen to the audio on whatever platform you're using. If you're watching the video, thank you so much. Yeah, like we said, it's all about sharing these conversations and spreading the word and facilitating these conversations happening more, and trying to change the culture. So if you've enjoyed this, if you've gained something insightful from it, please give it a share. We would love to see these conversations being spread. If you have suggestions for people to have on the show, feel free to drop them in whatever is here. You can also email us on kayacreativestudios@gmail.com with any recommendations, any questions. Do your thing. Like this on whatever platform you're doing it on, because not for my vanity, but because then more people will see it. Subscribe so that you can listen to more cool conversations that we have with other people like Zoe. And share this episode, share some snippets. There'll be cool snippets on our Instagram that you can share. And generally, thank you so much for listening and being a part of this conversation. I know it feels like we're just talking to a camera, but the people on the other end are part of the conversation too. So thank you for being a part of the conversation, and we hope that you continue to be a part of the conversation.
Yes.
All I love. Thank you. Goodbye.